sure by now most of you know that I was a solo aerialist with Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas at their Beatles LOVE show, which no longer exists, RIP, so sad. I performed daring artistic aerial acrobatics to up to heights of 60 feet with no wire, no net, for everyone's entertainment. Now, as amazing as it all is, and how intricate the whole show is, I'm sure you would think about what happens when things go wrong? And let me tell you, they do. So I want to share with you a couple stories of when things went wrong in my act while I was in Cirque du Soleil. Before I tell you these stories, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe down below if you haven't already. That helps me out so much and helps keep these videos coming your way. Alright, now to utter chaos. If you don't know, the Beatles LOVE show was at the Mirage Casino almost 20 years, and I had the honor and privilege of being a part of it for 3 years. I was the aerial strap solo. I played John Lennon's mother, Julia, and basically my whole act is me getting hit by a car and dying. Because unfortunately, in real life, that is how Julia Lennon died. It's a beautiful number. It's to the song Day in the Life. I do have my full act on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. It is an artistic masterpiece, if you ask me. So I'll start by just touching on a story that I did do a whole YouTube video on, but this actually doesn't have anything to do with technical errors or anything that went on stage wrong, but it was kind of something that went wrong before the show even started. I had a small shoulder tweak and pain I was dealing with, which was very common in this line of work. I mean, we were doing 10 shows a week. That repetition on the body does give a lot of wear and tear. I was trying to cycle up on my ibuprofen religiously every 6 hours to get on top of the swelling for the first 48 hours. That's a very common thing to do with PT, to get on top of an injury before it kind of gets out of hand. Unfortunately, on my way to work, I grabbed the wrong bottle of Advil from my medicine cabinet and grabbed the Advil PM bottle and took a double dose of Advil PM before shows. Not realizing it until about halfway through doing my makeup, I kind of felt that like druggy exhaustion, and it hit me that something wasn't right. So I went to my physio team, let them know just to be safe, and I made the decision to continue the shows and do both of my acts that night, which now looking back, I think that was not the wisest idea. Needless to say, I was on the elliptical the entire show when I wasn't on stage, drinking as much coffee as I possibly could. It was not an easy thing to go through, and honestly, there were moments on stage when I kind of was like, I don't think I should be doing this because it's very dangerous. So that's my first story of things going wrong. Next, in my act, like I said, I get hit by a car and die. So the first kind of gasp moment of the act is when I walk towards a VW bug and it hits me, I go flying back and the car explodes into pieces, and the whole audience, again, normally does a huge gasp, and it's just like a beautiful artistic moment. And also a metaphor for the Beatles breaking up. Wow. Now, as I do my straight flight, I do a couple flips and something called dislocates and whee! Then when I come down, the hood of the car is supposed to catch me as if, you know, kind of getting mangled on the front of a cart. And then he runs around in a circle where then the cable lifts up and then I can continue in a circular flight pattern for the rest of the act. Most of this time this goes right, but every once in a while the hood catch hasn't been exactly ideal. Now, I am supposed to be caught on my back hanging this way, and there was one or two times that some reason I got caught on my stomach. Now, one time the guy that would catch me, he was so good at it, he caught me on my stomach and was able to like pop me, and I could kind of flip around and get back to my back. It's not the end of the world if I'm on my stomach, but it does kind of set me up for not a great start position for my circular flight and the tricks that I have coming after. But it is something that's happened, and I've learned how to deal with it, because as an aerialist, things do not go the same every show, and so you kind of have to learn how to go with things and make them work on the spot in the air. Yeah, a little stressful. So the few times I have been flopped on my stomach, it's been a little funny. We all go back and laugh, haha. But one time in particular, I kind of got caught on the far edge of the hood where the momentum of me just was too powerful for him to try to catch and hold me on it, where I rolled right off the hood, and because I'm strapped in and holding, I have nothing to do but hold on and go where the straps swing. I'm on a giant cable from the top of the grid that is pulling at tension. Now, the length of that cable is automated, so it's in the computer system to be set at certain heights for certain points in the music. There's no overriding that, there's no controlling that. So at this point, all I can do is just go for the ride. If I'm at a taunt position here and fall, it's gonna pendulum swing back. And that's what happened. You think, Okay, that's crazy, no big deal. But unfortunately, right at that moment, the other gentlemen who are holding the other parts of the car kind of make a little formation in the center of the stage of like a mumbo jumbo car parts mosh, if you will. So I get sent like a bowling ball straight into them, and they are the pins. And when I say I bashed into them, my gosh, I think I hit my side really hard and just, like I said, bowling balled into them. And I had no freedom, no control over this. I was stuck to it and had to just go where it went. And unfortunately, that was crashing into the other car parts. Not fun. I'm also supposed to be dead at this point. So I'm kind of like in that moment going, okay, what do I do? What's my next move? Ow, that kind of hurt. Stay dead. There's almost 2,000 people watching me and we are live. Luckily, we got out of it quickly. The artist that holds me on the hood of the car, dropped that car piece, ran over, grabbed me. This is one of our contingencies if something happens where he can just hold my waist and he runs me around. He picked me up, starts pushing me out, says, "Are you okay?" And he laughed at this all the time. He goes, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I laid dead." I was like, yeah, not to miss a beat, not to break character. And he went, okay. And he ran around and pushed me so I could continue my act as normal. And I did. It was kind of just, it happened so fast. The adrenaline of performing keeps things going, keeps the pain out. It wasn't until after the fact I got down that I was like, oh, that kind of hurt. Next up, this one was crazy. Like I said, the final flight of my act is this big circular pattern. And I do a bunch of kind of thrashy moments, winding myself up to then wind myself down and do a final death. And the lights are strobing, it's very dramatic. Now, at the finale of the Love show, you know, the grand bam, and we're all on stage, big streamers come on for that grand finale pop moment. Accidentally, when I was doing my final death flight, someone hit the button for the streamers to go. So I'm flying around, dramatically dying, and I hear this big pop. Now, at the time, I didn't know the streamers had been going. I'm very focused on what I'm doing in my kind of little aerial bubble. And it did scare me. It sounded like a gunshot. I was kind of freaking out that like, oh my God, someone in the audience brought a gun and I'm stuck in the air and I can't run. I can't I'm not gonna lie, that's where my head went. Again, you only have a split second to think these things. Corner of my eye, I saw a red streamer passing, and that's when I realized what happened. And I was staying in character, I was doing my act, but internally I was dying laughing. After I finished my act, I ran to the training room, we replayed the video, and it's just the funniest thing because I'm having this like dramatic death scene and just all these streamer confettis were like, yay! So that gave us a good giggle. The final story I'm going to tell you about something going wrong in my act was a decision I had to make, and it was a decision to bail. Now, we're never questioned if we bail on something due to safety or if that's what we felt was the best decision to make in the moment. And that's what happened to me, which it's great they support that because you do have to make these decisions within a split second and it can be your life on the line. So we make the best decisions we can. In my act, fly in, tuck in my little John Lennon, kind of have a psychotic nervous breakdown, nightmare moment, fly up, fly back in, and I hit the stage. That's where everyone on the stage goes into this like slow-mo motion, and I don't. I'm the only one that stays normal, and I'm looking around like, what's going on? I don't understand. And that's when I slowly walk to the car, and everyone's slow motion trying to get me to stop. It's kind of a really cool, surreal moment, and then the car hits me, and I die. Now, when I came back down for this slow motion point, normally there's a part of the music where I feel the straps lower and the automation goes where the cable lowers. So then I can lower and I can wrap them around to then hold them down. So when I get hit, I can support myself and then do a drop again. This point, I was waiting for them to come down. The music's continuing. It's on the like, ah, if you know Day in the Life, really good singing. And I felt this like pulling motion. Again, I'm in the straps and they're not coming down and I'm getting kind of pulled up, and I was like, this is really weird. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it a second and it might just be a little late. That can happen too. And that has happened to me where the automation is a little off timing and I just kind of can feel it and pick up where it is. But this time it wasn't coming down. And I started going in my mind, again, all in split seconds, you know, this is an automation. This is a program in the computer. What if there's a computer glitch? Like, I don't know what could happen where it jumps to another part in the act and it just flies up. If I'm not engaged properly, it's gonna pull my shoulder out of the socket, or I'm not gonna be ready and I'm gonna fall. So in that moment, my best decision was to bail, get out of the straps, and go into what we have a no-fly contingency for the act, which I hate doing. But again, split second, I'm thinking about my safety, and it just felt like the right thing to do. Also, something you want to do as an acrobat or just a performer, honestly, as a human in general, is always go with your intuition and gut. It can't hurt to follow it, and you really just want to stay safe. And sometimes that's all you have to go off of for your survival. So in this version of the no-fly act, basically the car comes out, I walk to it, and when it explodes and hits me, I just like dramatically run off stage. And that's it. And then for the rest of the act, the car pieces just like fly around. It's really stupid. So that's what I did. So I walked to the car explodes. I think in the heat of the moment, not realizing, trying to keep the drama, I think I did one of these and like ran off, and that was something we all kind of laughed about after. But immediately I got off stage, everyone's like, are you okay? The managers are there, are you okay? What's going on? You know, just, I've never done that before. They know I'm a consistent performer, and I explained what happened, and they all supported me in my decision and said I did the right thing. Now, what it turned out to be was in the grid, the cable's there. When I go down at that moment, the riggers have this hook, and they have to hook in the cable and get it into something called a donut. That's because the next part of my act, when I do the big pendulum swings and the big circle flight, if that open space up in the grid has the cable there and they don't have that cable contained, it's gonna bang up against the sides of the metal grid way up. But with that donut, it kind of keeps the cable contained so that it's kind of within that motion where it can fly around in the air and on stage, but it doesn't hit the sides up, if that makes sense to you. So they were just having trouble hooking the cable and getting it into that donut, and they're not allowed to call the go for the next cue until it's in the donut. So that's where the delay came from. Had I waited 2 more seconds, they probably would have gotten it. It would have been a late delay, but it was just long enough that didn't feel confident and comfortable to me that I decided to bail. But again, all the managers, my coach, everyone said I made the right call and was glad I did. Now, there's nothing though more. I've had to do the no-fly version a few times, which again, it's just the most humiliating. When it starts as a no-fly, I don't even fly in. I just walk on, I tuck the child into bed, I go to the middle, have a nervous breakdown, run off the stage. I slowly walk back on, walk to the car, get hit and run off again, and that's it. And so when it comes time to finale and we all come on to take our bows, I feel so stupid because I'm like, I did nothing. And I'm taking this bow and I'm like, I basically walked on stage and tucked a child into bed. Not for me. And sometimes I'm like, do I have to go out for finale? I just feel so embarrassed. Safety first, and if something gets called, something gets pulled, my safety obviously is way more important than my embarrassment. So those are some of my stories of things going wrong during my act in Cirque du Soleil. Have you ever seen a show where something's obviously gone wrong, or has something in your own personal career or workplace gone wrong that's led to kind of a funny story for you? Let me know in the comments down below. And again, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I appreciate you watching. See you next time.